Hello and welcome to IASPrimers. My name is Shubhashish and you're watching today's daily news analysis. Now, as part of our initiative, I make it a point to share questions for mains answer writing practice. It's very simple. You are studying the newspaper from the point of view of the examination. So, perspectives, critical thinking, and that too in the examination format. Now, you can get your answers evaluated for free. So, 2 answers every week. All you have to do is write your answers with pen and paper and share it with me as a PDF on my Telegram or WhatsApp. The details are there in the description box below. Now I have 2 questions for mains. So one is the CBI being a caged parrot and the other one is about the swarm drone technology. So I have a question on this from the mains perspective, GS3 Science and Tech and GS2 Governance. Now let's quickly get done with this. The first news is India offers help to end Russia-Ukraine conflict. So our External Affairs Minister under Rule 193 of the Lok Sabha. So he was addressing the House. Now the first question is, what is this Rule 193? It is associated with which of the following 4 options? Well, it's very simple. It is not to do with the question and answer session. No. Opposition member had raised questions as to how is India dealing with this sanction situation. So it was basically short duration discussion. So that is the exact this thing, short duration discussion. So it is not a question or session, nothing. So the External Affairs Minister was expressing, he was basically answering the questions raised by this MP Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. So he's basically saying that, see, we want this peace to take place and we are telling them that talks is the way out. Naturally, what else can we do? So talks is the way out. And Russia is a very important partner, specifically because of the crucial role it plays in India's defense sector. Fine. So this is what the External Affairs Minister has basically stated. Yechuri proposes broadest front to defeat BJP. I have nothing against BJP, nothing against the left. All I want to do is trends in the political system, trends in the party politics. And the other thing is, just want to share the ideology of the left. So this gives us an excellent opportunity to learn about the left views. Left is part of your world history also. Left is also part of your modern history. So just so that you know as to how the left-based politics is minus the violence, right? So their ideology basically. So it's basically saying is that Yechuri is the leader of the Communist Party of India, Marxist, not Maoist. Maoist was the militant organization which was associated with left-wing extremism. So all the militants associated with left-wing had converged together. This is different. This is Marxist. So he's saying broadest front. All of us should come together against this massive force known as the BJP. We are not able to win elections at the assembly level. We are not able to win elections at the Lok Sabha. It's pretty obvious. So we must come together. Otherwise, our votes will keep getting split and BJP will keep winning. So broadest front, that is people from different groups, left, center, regional, caste-based, all of us should come together and have a united front, a rainbow coalition against the BJP. Now, from the point of view of the ideology over here, so it's basically saying that we should sharpen the class and the mass struggles. See, the left parties that are there, they believe in the ideology of uniting the working class or the proletariat. So the labor class, and in the industrial countries it was labor, but in India's context the idea is to even include in that form of masses also include the farmers. So then they say, okay, fine, what about the caste? They believe that the caste system is not so much of a social issue, but it is about a way of economic exploitation. That is, we have a caste of the lower caste, which will provide labor and do menial work for the society. So they believe it was upper class exploiting the lower caste. They don't see this as a social issue. Well, if you ask Dr. Ambedkar, he will disagree with this thing. For him, it was not a class issue, it was a social issue. He said that even if I get rich, even if a person from the lower caste gets rich, in that scenario also that person would be discriminated against. So here they are trying to use this class and they have to merge it. So sharpening the class and the mass struggles, creating a difference between the elite and the working community. And there should be a common minimum program for the left and the democratic forces. Which one? Democratic forces, which are not BJP basically, right? So they are basically referring to this. And also to highlight the issues with the issue of capitalism. So capitalism is like on the other spectrum, left opposes the capitalism. Left believes in socialism, communism. So they are against capitalism. They believe that the upper class or the elite class, they have resources, they have money, and they are looking at benefiting themselves at the cost of the working caste, working group. So highlight the issues with the capitalism, bring out the issue that during the recession and the pandemic times, COVID-19, the capitalist countries or these countries were not able to do well, but the countries with the socialist mindset performed much better. So that is what it is saying. And furthermore, from the point of view of international relations, it says that India is playing, the central government is playing a junior partner to US's imperialistic designs. US, so that means India-US relations don't bode well for them. And mind you, USA will champions democracy and Russia, USSR, communism, socialist. So they are in loggerheads, they are in tensions. So for them, they do not go well. And US ties with USA is not favored by the left parties. Veteran Bengali writer wins O. Henry Award. And we now need to know what is O. Henry Award over here. But before that, why is it, what book he wrote? So when he wrote, his name is Amar Mitra, and he wrote Gao Buro. So this was a book that was written in Bengali, and it was very famous in Bengal. Then somebody translated this book on its own onus, and moment it was translated, it started becoming a hit in not just in India but even outside. And thereby, this writer is getting the O. Henry Award, which is for short stories of exceptional merit. And it is to honor the American short story writer O. Henry. And it is for those books which are published in US and Canadian magazines. That is, it is not for anywhere else. So maybe somebody translated and got this into US and Canada, and thereby he's awarded. Right, so this is something that you need to keep in mind. He's also gotten the Sahitya Academy Award. So what is Sahitya Academy Award? This is very important for prelims. So Sahitya Academy literally stands for National Academy of Letters. And it is not specific to any particular language. It is providing the awards for writers in any of the 24 languages it supports. And what award? Rupees 1 lakh in each, right? So 1 lakh rupees is provided over here, plus a plaque, trophy type of thing is provided. So this is there. Then I think, and this academy also has 2 bi-monthly literary journals, that is Indian Literature in English and Samkaleen Bharatiya Sahitya in Hindi. The child at the center. Okay, this is about the issues with the children in distress. Now before we go ahead, this article is telling us about certain concerns with this Mission Vatsalya scheme, and it is telling us about the restructuring of all the schemes under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So let us do this, because this is the thing I feel is more important for prelims, and this is naturally from the PIB. So what it did was, in the last year, before the budget year, what it did was it segregated it. The Ministry of Women and Child is doing number of schemes. Some schemes are for protection and empowerment of women, some are for nutrition of the child and the maternal, the lactating mother, so for that. And it is also having certain schemes for for the protection of the children, welfare of the children. So there are a number of schemes. You can see here, there are a number of schemes over here. So all these schemes are clubbed together in 3 distinct categories. So schemes associated with nutrition, Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0. Now from Poshan also you can make out. And these are the schemes that are being covered over here. Mission Vatsalya. Vatsalya literally stands for affection, affectionate. So it is for protection of those children who are on the wrong side of the law. So Children Protection Center and Child Welfare Services. So anybody who's in distress, somebody is getting beaten up, some problem is there. So for those people, there is Mission Vatsalya. Those children, there is Vatsalya. And then comes Mission Shakti. Shakti, power to protect and empower. So Mission Shakti is there and it has these initiatives over here. So one is about the protection of the women, any problem that they're facing to protect them. And other component is empowerment. So Swadhar Greh for women who are affected or trafficked, whatever. So when they are rehabilitated, for them, it is Swadhar Greh. Then there is Ujjwala. You should read about all the schemes over here. Pradhan Mantri Matri Vandana Yojana, this is for maternity benefits. Now this is again a scheme which is very important and often in use. Now note this, gender budgeting and research activities. Gender budgeting was asked, if I'm not wrong, 2015 or 16, either of the years it was asked, gender budgeting. And in fact, even I keep using it. For some time I haven't, but gender budgeting for women empowerment. So it's not like, money is being allocated. It's not about allocation of money or an accounting exercise like the budget. It is basically when the government is implementing a scheme or making a policy, any policy. Let's say even if the government says we have to make roads. So from that perspective, what is the benefit that is accruing to the women? So it is more of a policy thing where we are keeping women, we are budgeting for the women or the other gender as to how it is benefiting them. So gender sensitivity in policy making in that way, it is not really a separate budget that has been announced for women. So every department has to have this exercise, and this will pave way for women-led development. That is what the Prime Minister said. It should not be about engendering development, but women-led development, women playing a key role in developmental activities. So that would be a sustained development. You have a doubt, you can just message on the comment section. Okay, so what happened with this Vatsalya scheme is, the ministry has reorganized, the government has reorganized the Ministry of Women and Child Development. And so the same thing written over here. So what has happened is that, let's say a child is in distress. A child is in distress. So the child will call on a helpline number, which is also known as the child line. So this number is 1098. So when the child calls, the first respondent would be Ministry of Home Affairs. And what does Ministry of Home Affairs do? Law and order, policing. So most likely it will be received by the police officials. This should have ideally gone, according to this editorial, it should have gone to NGOs, civil society groups, right? So those organizations instead of police. So that is what the article is basically saying, that it should have ideally gone to them, because the children do not feel confident while talking to the police personnel. They may not have that type of sensitivity that is required while talking to a child. They don't feel that comfort over here. So ideally it could have been civil society organizations, child rights activists who are actively working for the cause of the women. They are better trained, better equipped to deal with the issues of the child. Then in 2003 in Chennai it had happened that the child line numbers, the calls were to go to the all women police station. So that's fine. So women will be attending, women, child, the bond is there. But that again, it led to a lot of calls and it started hampering the regular work. And many a times there were blank calls. So they would call and they don't have the courage to talk. So with this regard, it would have been a better approach to have the civil society organizations, child rights activists to deal with this. So this, it says it's a policy wrong which should be rectified at the earliest. A candid conversation about the cage parrot. How does it come? So you know the cage parrot which is in the cage. The bird can fly, bird can do marvelous things, speak also. And I'm not concerned with the speaking right now, but the bird is in the cage. And so this was a statement that this was a remark that was made by the Supreme Court actually, with reference to the autonomy of the Central Bureau of Investigation. So it said in the Vineet Narain case, also known as the Jain Hawala case. So Justice J.S. Verma had remarked that the CBI, which is supposed to be an autonomous organization of the center, to deal with the issue of, first of all, it was started with to deal with the issue of corruption at the central level. So Santhanam committee report had recommended all this is important for prelims. And then later on, the crimes of serious nature were included in the jurisdiction of CBI. So the court itself, the judiciary remarked that CBI is a caged parrot. And the cage of whose cage? The cage of the political parties in power. So as they say, they will act. They will dance to the tunes. If they say to say a particular thing, they will say that particular thing. And in this regard, we basically mean, you must have seen all those CBI cases, Enforcement Directorate. It's mostly it's against the people from the opposition camp. And likewise, when they were in the power, the opposition, they used to do the same thing. So CBI is a caged parrot. It is not functioning autonomously. So that is what the article is about. So now recently the Chief Justice of India had remarked about the pathetic state of India's investigative agencies, that they are doing a very bad job. They are being controlled by the ruling party. So they are not acting autonomously. Right? So they are being used as mere tools by the political parties for their ends, for their benefits. So this is what this article is talking about, and then it starts defending the CBI, which maybe because he himself is from CBI over here. So this is basic article over here. Okay, now let's come to the question. I just want to discuss the question over here. There has been concerns expressed about the autonomy of the CBI in recent times. Recent times, it is always going to be there. 10 years from now, if CBI is there, then also it will be recent times. So do you think these concerns are justified? Discuss. Simple. So here you can start your answer by stating about the CBI, right? I don't want to get to all this. You can start by talking about the CBI. In fact, I think I have the points I have added there. Yeah. So you can start by stating about the CBI over here. Then if you wish, you can refer to the Santhanam committee also, and for crimes of serious nature and to deal with the issues of corruption. Then you can bring out the aspect that, see, in the recent times, there has been concerns that the CBI is being used as a tool by its political masters, even provoking a remark by the Supreme Court in the Vineet Narain case, where it said that the CBI is a caged parrot. In fact, more recently, the Chief Justice of India, Justice N.V. Ramana, has also said to have remarked about the pathetic state of India's investigative agencies, which includes the CBI. Right, you can talk about this. You can also refer to the institution from which it derives power. Now, one thing to keep in mind for CBI is not a statutory body. Even though it is coming from, it is, when we refer to the CBI, you will refer to the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. But it was actually started by a resolution of the Ministry of Home Affairs. But it derives powers from the DSP, and therefore it is not a statutory body. Right. So there has been concerns raised about all this. You can talk about it. Then it mentioned the issue of autonomy. Then express the issue of autonomy over here. What are the autonomy issues? First of all, it is being, there is a wide perception, use this term perception, about them being used by the political masters. Then you have these points over here I've listed down. Courtesy insights on India. So there were many articles actually, but this one was purely about autonomy and strictly with the provisions of this thing. You can raise that issue of the politicization and then express this. Then the next part you can say that to term this as a caged parrot, or to strictly say that it is not autonomous as such, there is some evidence of truth, but there is also a case to remember that only 10% of the case would fall into this category. By and large, the CBI has been functioning autonomously and performing its task well. Right, so in that way you can refer to, and then you can list down certain things, certain reforms that have been recommended for the functioning of the CBI over here. Now coming to the next article, reorganizing Andhra Pradesh districts to match local Lok Sabha constituencies. Okay, now just consider this. Elections take place. This is, let's say this is Andhra Pradesh, Telangana somewhere here, right? So it's complicating, my drawing is bad. So this is the state of Andhra Pradesh. Imagine this is the entire state, and from here there are different constituencies. What are constituencies? Where the elections take place and the people, they vote and they go to the, either they go to the assemblies, they go to the Lok Sabha. Now we are specifically talking about the Lok Sabha. Now many a times what we would see is that these are the Lok Sabha constituencies, while the district may be like this. It is not necessary that Lok Sabha constituency and the district, the jurisdiction of the district may be same. So this doesn't happen, and this could be one reason that districts are already there, and from time to time the delimitation commission, which commission? Delimitation commission, changes the constituency. So that could be a reason why they do not tally. So time to time they have the authority to change this, and this is done by the act of the parliament, and the recommendations of the delimitation commission cannot be changed, right? They have to be abided by. It's binding. Okay, so this is there. So constituencies do not match. So the basic issue which it will try to address is, I feel it is a good reform. Let's see if a critical this thing comes. It says that, see, ultimately the district magistrate, the district, the people who are working, they are working, and then there is the political master. So ultimately it should match with the district, because if the district performs well, if the political class puts pressure or whatever for the welfare of the people and the district performs well, then it will be rewarded by getting a seat in the Lok Sabha constituency also. So that is the very idea over here. Otherwise there are multiple jurisdictions, there are different constituencies within the same district. So that creates a difficulty. So this is one. And it has remarked that the performance of the district collector or the district administration would be judged in accordance with the performance that they are doing in respective constituencies. So now they have tried to tally this. The second thing over here which it is doing is, it has created more districts. And makes sense, because population has increased. The districts are very big. So it is very difficult to administer. So having smaller districts and the administration, the headquarters, etc. will be more approachable. They will be closer. And for them also it will be easy to oversee the implementation of the government schemes and perform the tasks better. So in that way, this seems to be a good idea. So even prior to this, the government had established a prelude to the formation of new districts. The government had established ward and village secretariats. So that is with reference to the local bodies. So now it will need to create, now since they have done this, they will need to create more infrastructure. They will have to relocate the officials. So on the infrastructure front, a transit accommodation has been provided to collectors, SPs, and they are also working on integrated administrative complexes. The idea is that the district machinery should be at the center of the district or the the new districts that are being formed. Center says it has no data on phone tapping. You know why I'm sharing this? I wouldn't have shared this normally. I'm not concerned about this. I'm not talking about the internal security issue. I'm interested about the functioning of the institution of the Right to Information Act, right? The Chief Information Commission. So I'm more interested in these agencies over here. And this particular article basically reflects how the government or the government sees this RTI and how it tries to evade the functioning of the RTI. So this you can see. Okay, so you know what happens. There was center. Naturally, center is tapping phones. Center will tap phones. Okay, so center is tapping phones. So somebody sent a petition. You know, we have the Right to Information Act. That is, the citizens have power to claim information from the government. So somebody went to the center. Somebody went to the center, and from there it went to the office of the Public Information Officer, PIO. Right, so there will be some agent, right? If somebody wants information, there will be some person who will be deputed in different departments of the government. So this person goes and files that, see, I want data on how many phones were being tapped. How many phones? Phone numbers or details are not being asked. So this is not a personal information. It is a statistical information. Clear? So there is no question of the breach of privacy of a person. And the government also should not have any issues in releasing that information because it is a statistical data. More tapping is taking place or less tapping is taking place. And by the way, they are taking government resources, taxpayers' money, everything is functioning. Okay. So as per the RTI, the PIO, the government, is legally obligated to provide the information to the person. So the government said, see, there is something known as Section 8 of the RTI Act, which exempts the security agencies from revealing this information. Fine. So Section 8. So he was not happy with this communication that came from the PIO. So he appealed at one level, then he appealed at the other. Ultimately, he reached the CIC, the office of the CIC, the final authority. And CIC said, what is the problem? What is the problem with you revealing the information? It's a statistical data. Just release. It says, see, we don't have the data now. We keep data only for 6 months as per the provisions of the Section 5 of the Telegraph Act and Section 69 of the IT Act. By the way, these are the provisions concerning the tapping. So Telegraph Act is for phone communication, the things that you speak on the phone, and IT Act is for computer, Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever things. So on that medium, it is the IT Act. It is regulated by that. So see, on that basis, we had to delete this information by 6 months. We cannot store it. It is sensitive, so we cannot provide. All they had to give is, now they don't have the data about the people, but they would have how many tappings they have done. They say that we don't have any record altogether, so we cannot provide. So this somewhere reflects the state of mind of the administration when it comes to revealing of information over here. Al-Qaeda targets India in hijab row. Okay, Al-Qaeda is obviously it's a terrorist organization, and see what is happening. So polarization had taken place with reference to the hijab in Karnataka. So they have taken place. So naturally the Muslim population is offended. Now he is trying to, this militant Al-Qaeda, he is trying to bank on this, take advantage of this situation over here. So he's saying that, see, he's targeting democracy. He's saying these things don't matter, human rights, respect of the constitution or law. Take matters in your own hands. So he's trying to radicalize the youth over here. What is he trying to do? This is an example of online extremism, terrorism. So radicalization, he's trying to radicalize the youth over here. Trying to create a state where it's trying to picture a particular community that, see, this authority, etc., this is against you, and this polity will not look after you, and you have to look after yourself, and by which means we know this is a militant organization. From here it would try to filter out few people and they may join the ranks of militants. That is the sole way this is the basic way by which they function. Okay, coming to the last article, second edition of Swarm drone contest launched. So this was by the Indian Air Force. So you can see this. I think Indian movies we haven't seen much. The American movies, they show the drones coming and one hitting the other. Right. So swarm drones, these are the swarm drones over here. So this could be used naturally. This is with the Indian Air Force. So this could be for the military operations that are being done. So this is one of the applications of this. So in fact, the swarm basically stands for, swarm means like, you must have seen those bees also going collectively like that. So, but there is a full form also, stands for Smart War Fighting Array of Reconfigurable Modules. Now here, this is the question that I have from Science and Tech. This is a very emerging topic. So I feel this could be important. So let's try to do this. So what do you understand by drone swarm? And briefly discuss its applications and associated concerns. Now, typically I would have just stopped at applications, but since you're preparing for exam and you want notes also, so I'm asking this in entirety. So this has to be done in 250 words. So you can start by this thing, swarm. You can refer to the military exercises that are going on. So swarm drones are lightweight drones that carry multiple packages to a single destination at a time. Now this could mean that we can have unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, for combat related activities. Now this could have bombs, it could have small missiles, it could have a payload, and this could target the enemy site. It could be used to target the militants, and there will be limited casualties. Right? So this is one aspect. So military is one way of looking at it. But then it could also be used for space exploration. It could be used in contaminated environment. For example, the radiological waste or some hazard has taken place. So we can send the swarm drones which are not needing the oxygen, right? So we can use them to explore these areas. We can use them for 3D mapping or for humanitarian assistance, disaster relief. So for that activity, for spot spraying of outbreaks of fire or whatever, something has to be provided, medicines has to be provided, anything. Jungle warfare, surgical strikes, and counter-terrorist operations. So this you have to write in very, very simple language, simple terms over here. Now coming to the concerns part. So associated concerns, what are the associated concerns? What if it falls into the wrong hands? What if it falls into the wrong hands and it is used against us only? And since this is such a mobile thing, and mobile thing, the cost of inflicting, like for example, terrorists need gun. For gun, they need a license or it has to be trafficked. But this could be easily used, could be easily available in the market also, or somebody can configure this. So this is a problem. It's a national security risk. It can affect the public safety. These are certain concerns if it falls into the hands of the enemy state or the non-state actors, referring to the militants over here. Furthermore, there may be some technological limitations. I'm not concerned here, but yes, there may be technical there may be collisions also. There may be it requires a lot of coordination, high technology, artificial intelligence. But here primarily, we are concerned more with the public safety. Right, it basically depends if it will come in GS3 only. Right, no, that doesn't matter. Just ignore what I said. Right then, so this concludes the session. So thank you for streaming in to IASPrimers with me, Shubhashish. Bye bye, take care and all the best.